We always have some type of excitement going on around the city and around the globe with the Esther Davis Show. But I'm here talking to a third generation businesswoman. Mom was in business, daddy was in business, and her name is Sydney Bowden. How you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
You look like your mom,
Oh
so much
yes,
like her.
yes.
You hear
Thank
that all
you.
the time.
Yes, I talk like that, act like everything. Yes.
It's like having a second little clone running
Yes,
around.
yes. A duplicate.
Well, and I got a lot of stuff to cover with you because as a third generation business, your mom was in business. Who was in business in the family? Why are you a third generation? Where are you?
So my grandmother actually had a beauty shop in Oak Cliff
Okay.
that she owned. And then after that, of course, my mom came and she created her own business with her husband, which
Oh,
was titled Lankford Avenue. And then my dad, of course, has a business as well. So now I have a daycare.
a daycare, and you have
Yes,
two babies.
yes,
We
yes.
need business owners around the globe. We need people too, and we need this age. Well, by the way, how old are you
I am
now?
27.
Oh, a hot 27 years
Yes,
old.
yes, yes.
27. I don't think I remember being 27.
You can remember it. You can remember. It's one too long ago.
Oh yeah, okay. Thank you so much. Yeah, you are like your mom. But I want to talk about you. We just finished an election, a major election. Your mom was part of that election, leading up to the final winners. And
Yes,
you worked in the campaign.
yes.
How did you about working in a campaign, democracy? What is going on?
Yes. So it was a great experience. Because we knew what the greater good was. We knew what we wanted. For and even though we did not get the victory that we did want, we were able to get what we wanted out. Right.
Uh-huh.
So a lot of people knew of the changes that needed to be done to the schools and things like that as a result of her running, and putting her platform down. So I believe that it was not in vain at all.
No, I was working in part of the campaign. It was for Congress, U.S. Congress District 30. And I'm sure you are aware that this last election we just had, it was young people that sort of pushed that to the Democratic program and afforded the Democrats to win.
Hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about that?
It's a lot. It's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot political. A lot of
A lot of, yeah, but you just said something while we were waiting for the
hmm.
cameras to come up. You said it was all worth it, right?
Yeah, definitely worth it. Definitely worth it. I
Well,
don't
if you're
think.
going to have change, that's what it is.
Yep, it takes some failure in it. That's they say that if you never fail, then that means you hadn't tried it all.
My guest is Sydney Boland, 27 years old, and we're talking about everything, the election primarily, and where you are now. Now, you have always worked for the family business in some
Yes,
sense, right?
yes, yes,
You like
yes.
some parts better than you like the other parts?
I like it all pretty much just simply because I know for sure in all of it, I know that I'm helping someone else. I'm helping them be a better family member to their family.
Oh,
And so that's what all of them have in common. And so I love it.
so it works. You like it.
Yes.
Well, I was there today. Y'all went on TikTok,
Mm,
and they had you have a backyard in Cedar Hill, one of the
mhm.
fastest growing cities in the United States right now. So during the campaign, somebody logged on to TikTok
Mm.
and it was madness.
Was it?
Yes, yes, I remember that day because the numbers really got interesting. And
Hmm.
one of the workers says, "Oh my gosh, that many people watching the show."
Wow.
So, how do you feel about the strength and the power of social media?
Oh, it's interesting. There's a lot of things just with everything. There's some negatives and there's some positives.
Right?
But it's just a matter of what you are using it for, right? So you can use it for some
Ah,
positive things and
yeah,
you can
you
use
can.
it for some negative things, but it's just a matter of what you use it for. And being able to use it for some positivity is just the best thing because you'd be surprised who you can influence, right?
So you can influence.
Yeah.
So, what do you use it for?
I specifically influence as well. When we do advertisement for the Avenue, which is our other venture that we do have going on, where we go to the schools and we try to recruit students with our free services as far as free college tours and things like that. We use it to try to motivate them to understand that if you want a successful future, this is a part of doing that.
Well,
Um,
yeah, the whole election,
mhm.
democracy is a You said college tours.
Yes.
What do you do with college tours?
So we do free college tours for the students. So just giving them an opportunity to be able to see, because of unfortunately there are some students who are not able, or parents that are not able to afford being able to go to colleges and travel. And so we like to provide that for them. We don't want them to feel counted out just because they may not be able to, but being able to go to different college tours to be able to see which one fits best for them.
So you actually do the transportation, the foods,
All free of charge.
Free college. Where have you been? Where have you been?
I know it. We've received this opportunity and we're taking full advantage of it. That's why we want to get as many students, not turning down anyone.
Okay.
So we do offer college and career, because we know that that may not be everyone's path that they may want to go to. But we do provide career readiness as well, where we put them in internships to see which jobs best fit them as well.
So you do placement.
Yes.
And see, I run into people all the time, Stephanie, that would say, "Oh, nothing is available, and we need to do this, and we need to do that." And you've already created this venue for young people.
Yeah.
You don't leave anybody behind.
Nope, not at all. Everybody has a spot.
Everybody has a spot for college tours. And Dallas, well, Texas now, I just left the mayor's state of the city, which was pretty interesting, because we're building what we call an international district in Dallas, Texas. I call Dallas the center of the universe. So I've got to get people to repeat that because that's what it is. But in any event, with what you're doing, you go to all points in the city to get this done, or you do advertising, or you just come on the Ester Davis show?
Yes, ma'am. That too. That helps a lot. Thank you so much, viewers. And so, but we typically focus on the southern sector. Students who are at schools where there's a low income, typically, just because the opportunity is a little bit slim for them. It's a little bit smaller for them. And so, but again, we're not cutting out anybody at all. But typically we are focused more so on those students, just simply because it's a little bit harder for them to get to where they're wanting to be with the resources that they do have.
Yeah, we want to be a part of that. I've had children all of my life, somebody else's children all of my life, and it is quite rewarding. Quite rewarding. Okay, so you were telling me about social media, the influence and the good, the bad, and the beautiful of social media. Where do you think we're going? I mean, in 10 years, you're going to be 37. Oh, 70. That's getting really old.
Oh, yeah. Seems so close to. Oh, my Jesus.
And you have children. So what way, you've got these options now with raising children.
So many different options. And that's why I think that it's so important that we are having an influence with the children, because we can kind of influence them a little bit more, right? With certain things that we instill into them, right? Kind of promoting a little bit more of going to be outside, having a good time being a child, as opposed to relying so heavily on social media, or just relying so heavily on things that could, create a negative impact on them, right? Gaming, things like that. And so that's the importance of being able to be there, letting them know what the bigger picture is.
So what do you feel about family time? Because, and I've got to pick your brain, because, mainstream media does a good job of talking about what you guys have. The X generation, whatever y'all, what do y'all call now? The XYZ generation, the Q generation, all of these generations.
Millennials. Yep.
I sort of like millennials. Which one do you like?
Millennials.
Yeah, because we're really only in the 22nd year of 100 years.
Yeah.
So that's millennials.
That's true. It's true.
But family time. What type of family growing up did you enjoy the most?
Just spending time with family was a great one. Getting together and of course things have changed as the years have passed, because people have passed, unfortunately. And so things are not the same. People don't want to necessarily get together the same as they used to. But I think that that's very important, because it provides support for you, right?
Yes.
It lets you know that you're loved. It just provides so much support, and lets you also know who your family members are. Which is a lot of things that we're lacking these days. A lot of family reunions go
undone.
No more family reunions. Things have changed a lot. But being able to get together lets you know that you do have that support. Lets you know that you come from good stock. Being able to see that.
That's really good.
Yeah.
My guest is Sydney Bowen, and she's a third generation entrepreneur family, and you worked all of these years. When did you start working, and where did you start first? What did they have you doing first?
Oh my! I think I started. Oh, we used to do garage sales. We used to have. Yeah, it was interesting. But the first actual job was probably it's CC's. Yeah,
CC's, what's that?
CC's. CC's Pizza.
Okay.
Yeah, CC's
Oh, you
Pizza.
actually had a job serving
This
pizza.
was before um, college in high school.
Okay.
Hmm
So you worked doing college and high school.
Yes.
You brought home a paycheck.
Oh yes.
Oh,
How I
yes.
would say, I always say, I don't know why, but I always had multiple jobs, like three jobs, two or three
Two,
jobs.
three
I
jobs.
was, yeah.
There's Dr. Lankford and Dr. Lankford, your mom and dad, and he is a Marine, a United
Yes.
States Marine.
Yes.
We got to talk a little bit about him because I know at one point he was training other boys, other
hmm
young men, so
Mentorship.
to
Yes.
speak,
Yes.
in leadership positions.
Yes.
You know, he looks like a machine, a Marine. He doesn't have to say anything.
At all. At all.
So what is he like, Sydney?
Oh, he's fun. He's fun. Once you actually get to know him, he's actually fun. I love
Okay.
to see him do the classes. He talks to the young men about healthy relationships and what it looks like to have a healthy relationship, the importance of it, because the household is so much safer when they are able to go home and treat their family how they
Ah,
should. Yeah.
really?
hmm It's so much safer. But to hear him talk and tell him what a man should do or be doing is totally awesome. We love it because again, like I say, it makes the
Make the
family,
family
the
feel
homes
safe.
safer. Yeah, especially during the holidays, things like that. To be able to see a lot. I wish I would have brought some of the letters of the clients that actually exited through our program to be able to hear how much they have changed.
So people, when they leave the program, they will come
hmm
back there writing letters.
Well, they'll write letters. It's a
Get
part
out
of
of
the
here.
program about just writing a paper about what you've learned and your experience from the class.
Yeah.
And a lot of them say that they have changed 180, and they say 180, not 360, because 360 means that I'm back at the same place, but 180 means I'm
Okay,
changing.
that's good.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
talking to Sydney. We're talking to a new generation of entrepreneurs in our state. And what I'm going to do is take a little bit of a break. We're going to come back and talk about her dad, the United States Marine, because this is Veterans Month.
Yes.
We'll be right back. Don't
Yes.
go away. Young people about their entrepreneurship in the 21st century. My guest is Miss Stephanie Bowen, who has been working for her parents in all of the businesses, and now I just found out she worked for a pizza company, and her dad is a United States Marine. So let's talk about his. How long was he in the Marine Corps?
I want to say, and don't hold me to this. It was, I believe, 7 in and 3 reserve. I believe, but
7 years as a Marine.
in and then 3 reserve. I believe. Don't let me. Don't quote me.
Oh,
on it,
I
please.
won't hold you to that. I'm
Um,
sure I'll get corrections on that. They'll correct me. But this is Veterans Month. We want to thank all of our veterans. We want to thank you for your service to our great country, because without your service, we don't have the greatness that we enjoy. And her dad runs a program for young men.
Yes, yes. So, and we actually do, I mean, we run the program, and it is actually for everyone pretty much.
Okay.
We offer a plethora of classes, like thinking for a change, life skills, anger management, marijuana intervention.
Anger management, that's a big subject.
Oh, huge,
Huge.
huge,
Really?
huge. Yeah. Because you don't realize you have it until you use it, and then you've overexerted yourself. Now
And then you're in big trouble.
Now you're in big
Sydney.
trouble.
So then our prison systems. Before we go to another break, your dad is a Marine Corps. Your mom is a former teacher that was on the school board.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, that's great news all by itself. But in this programming that you have right now, I'm sort of intrigued about all of the things you have to cover.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole family is involved in this, or do you hire
Yes.
people, or what? How does that
all
work?
all all hands on deck. But then we also have, of course, childhood friends that'll come along, and volunteers that we just met throughout life period,
Mhm.
that have the same things in mind that we have, as far as wanting to make the society and the world better, wanting
Okay.
to be able to serve as a resource for everything, which
Mhm.
is like the food, from the food to the classes to just resources for everything, to be able to let them know that they're not alone. And so they have all the same mindset that we do have.
Okay, so
And
it's, first of all, everybody has to have, the class has to have, the people that work with you have to have the same mindset.
yes, definitely.
That should make things a little bit easier.
Hmm.
But you had a major hiccup in the family about, I don't remember when, you had a death. You lost a sister,
March, yes,
March, in the middle of the campaign.
yes.
Wow.
At
How
the
did,
end.
at the end of the, really, at the end of the
Hmm.
campaign?
Hmm.
Saddening. How, did that set you back any, was there any rah? How did the family get to that? Because it was sudden, if I remember correctly.
Hmm. Yeah, didn't feel good at all. Didn't feel
Well,
good.
that's a good answer. How old
Yeah,
was your sister?
35.
35. And all of a sudden you're faced with this death. So what, just to help other people, what happened? What did your family do?
Um, of course, we understand we do have to continue to push on, right? Um, but just try to keep her name alive, right?
Mhm. So you're
The
doing
same
anything to
things.
keep her name alive? Oh,
Doing, I
really?
mean, understanding what she stood for, what she wanted, and then continuing to do those things, in the community. Yeah.
Wow.
So.
You're gonna add that to your current resume of activity?
Yep.
Sandy Boring is a bold young leader for the 21st century, she and her family. And we're always talking about good news over here. That's why I
Mhm.
love this network, Good News Network,
Mhm.
because there's so many great things that you can run into.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yes. Yes.
You have a, where's your sister? There's a
Uh,
sister.
yes,
Another
yes,
sister, I'm
yes,
sorry.
yes, yes. She's working
She's the
now.
funny one.
Yes, hilarious, hilarious,
Wait,
hilarious.
and now who's the parole? Somebody's a parole officer.
I was an ex parole officer. I used to be a parole officer.
A parole
Yes,
officer?
yes. Again,
And
this
you
is
still have this good look on your face. Parole officer? I hear
yeah,
all these bad things
yeah.
about
Well, yeah,
parole.
and again, this is the goal was to see what I can be able to do to be able to help out. You know what I mean? What I can do to benefit them, how I can help them, right? Let them know that nobody's forgotten about them, right? But this is what you or you haven't failed just because the situation happened, but this is what you can do to pick yourself back up and brush yourself off and
And
running
get
with the
back into
wind. Run with
society.
the wind. Do what you need to do
A
to be
parole
successful.
officer did not know. Well, I knew somebody was a parole
Mm-hmm.
officer.
Yes.
Oh, I need to pick your brain. I hear a lot about this subject. Number one, they couldn't vote. That was the number one thing that I heard. And they want to vote.
Mm-hmm.
We have this recidivism. They go back into the system. How
Mm-hmm.
many parolees did you have? Can you talk about this?
Oh yes.
Oh, okay. Just wondering.
Yes, yes. I had about over 100. It was times where I had over 100, based off of the number of parole officers that were working there.
Mhm.
So
Is this Dallas
the
County or
numbers
Tarrant
would
County? Where
range.
are you?
So I was in Ellis County, but we
Oh,
covered
okay.
Ellis County, Kaufman County, and Navarro County.
You know, that people that worked a long time would say, we need you to find yourself. Was that an episode where you really discovered who you were?
Well, I kind of had figured it out then. That I knew that I wanted to be able to help others who had got into situations.
Okay.
But that was kind of like the foundation that I needed to be able to give me the confidence to do more.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure in your confidence did get you there.
Mm-hmm.
A parole officer,
Yes.
family business, parole officer, mother. So you managed all of this at a very young age. I was
Yes.
not that smart. I couldn't do everything at
God.
one time.
God.
God, only God could do that for you.
Yes.
You're
Yes.
absolutely
Can't
right.
take credit at all.
We have, I just left the city of Dallas had a meeting today with our mayor who's the 60th mayor. He's an African American here in Dallas, Texas. and we are the ninth largest city in the United States. And in his message today, I took several notes. If you would, you can read about it in my column in the Dallas Post Tribune next week, not this week. But he mentioned international district, and he mentioned expanding our educational system.
Mm-hmm.
So from a millennial perspective, where do you see our future as the ninth largest city, I'm sorry, in the United States? What are your thoughts? You think you run for office like your mom did?
And this is the thing, I've said a lot of things about what I won't do, and then years pass, and then I'm like, you're doing it. So I won't say that I will not, because again, I have in my head that I want a better future for my children. I want a better future for the children, period, everyone. And so when it comes to getting that, I'll go just about to any means, like my mom, to be able to give my children that, to be able to give my grandchildren that.
Wow, you're thinking grandchildren.
I know,
Wow.
right? Ooh,
Yes.
taking myself too fast.
Gotta go faster than you can think. No,
My
I have
goodness.
grandchildren. Is like, do I really have grandchildren? That time.
Wow. Goes so
Yeah,
fast.
yeah, it goes by really,
Whew,
really fast. But it's
my.
funny to hear you
I'm not
talking.
rushing it though, Lord.
You're not rushing.
No,
it.
no,
Okay.
no, no, no.
You are a young Christian.
Yes. Yes.
It is so refreshing to see a 20-something-year-old talking about the Lord.
Yes.
What happened to y'all? Y'all didn't go to church as much as my generation went to church. What do you think about that?
So I did go to church pretty often. But I think more so the experiences are what brought me closer, right? So it's one thing for me to rely on my family to tell me, hey, you should do this, go to this church, do this, right? But the experiences are what bring you closer. Right.
Yes,
And knowing
yeah,
that you can
yeah.
just do it alone. But when
gotta
you
have
do
some
rely
help.
on God,
Yes.
He helps you through. And that's what has helped me. So I'm like, if it works, why
mess
change
it up?
Why
That-
if it's not broke, don't try to fix it. I'm
Wow.
gonna keep it what it is. Yes.
You wouldn't believe America is safe if we have young people like this that will come out and just talk openly about everything. Back to them. You've lived in Dallas all your life, right?
Yes.
Have you done any traveling? You guys used to go.
Yes.
Was it you or your sister? I'm thinking about somebody else. Where have you been?
Oh, so we were younger when we did travel. We've gone to Canada. My mom, we used to go with a group with a lady that she used to teach with. And she had a travel group, and we would go with her often. I think it was called the Texas Travelers, but we would go very often. Go to Canada and Atlanta, places like that. Yeah.
Past Niagara Falls. Have you been in Niagara
Oh
Falls?
yes.
Oh, I love. That's my favorite
Yes,
place.
very
Niagara
nice.
Falls. One of
Very
my favorite
nice.
places to be.
Very nice. Very
Now
nice.
that's where you see God. Is at Niagara Falls.
Oh yeah.
That much water.
How much you can do?
Yes. And then I've kept up with it over the years because I spent a lot of years in New York. And during the snow, two of the falls would just stop. And then one of the main ones will continue.
Wow.
Oh, it's so beautiful. I would do anything to go up there to see Niagara Falls. And then they stopped the falls.
Really?
They stopped the falls. I studied and kept up with that. They were doing repairs of the mountain or something. I may have that wrong. Don't hold me. Please don't call me about that. I know I'm wrong about that part of it.
It's okay.
But they held the water back. So I really wanted to go see, was busy, couldn't get up there. And then after a couple of months, after a year, released the water and started back running again.
Wow.
So God is awesome. The things that He has built are awesome.
Yes, it is.
Anita asked you about basically some of the systems that we're in right now. The last voting issue was on a number of things. It was on gay marriages, it was on abortion, it was on, and I'm still keeping up with some of these abortion. It's on people coming into our country. I don't really like the word immigrants because we're all immigrants. So from your perspective, give us a sense of what you think about, let's say, abortion and immigrants, the word I don't like.
So I think that it can be interesting for those women, and I speak for those women and because I had an experience it myself. But for those, I feel for those women who have been molested or raped, right, and then are having to relive the situation every day with their children, right, and so it can be tough to see that. But then I also say, to the women who can be negligent and just do what they want to do, right? You got to be watchful of those things as well, because you lay down with dogs.
Gee, you're smart.
You lay down with dogs, you definitely get up
You
and flee.
are so smart.
So
you
we
use the word
can't-
negligent.
Yes,
So,
yes,
women that
yes.
are negligent.
Yes.
Oh, that covers
Everything.
but you're absolutely right. Negligent. Do you get into conversations about that?
Not as often, but it's definitely a conversation that is important to have. Definitely is important because you see so many people who have children, and again, they're negligent once the children get here as well. And it's sad because the children are the ones who have to suffer as a result.
You're absolutely right about that. I've done a lot of shows on parenting and this and this and this. And I had a young lady tell me one year. I think I was on another network. In fact, I'm sure I was. And she says she loved her partner, but she said after the baby came, I didn't know it was going to be like this. I said, okay, what did you think it was going to be like? You got a baby, for heaven's sake, and the baby is 100% dependent on you. So you have to have some sense of what the baby needs, because all of a sudden in our court systems, and this is about 20 years ago, in our court systems, we were inundated with child abandonment. Okay, now we are having basically the same problem because young women are not carrying their babies. There's a report out last week about premature.
Wow.
Now, in 2022, that is just totally unacceptable. So that's under the category of negligence.
Yeah.
But I wanted to know, does the conversation come up? What would you advise a young woman to do that's pregnant? Get an abortion or go back to school or what? You're a counselor, right? Okay.
So I say, use this as motivation. I was just listening to a sermon on the way here, and it said that when you go through situations, of course, if you go through situations and you don't learn from it, it's considered a loss, right? But if you go through situations and you learn from them, it's a lesson. And so you use those situations to be able to make you stronger, make you better, motivate you. And so I say, go to school, do what is best for you. Use it as your motivation, because that's what my children had done for me. That's when I started my business after I had my children.
You started a business?
A whole business. Yeah, that's so much motivation.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah,
Were the babies here or they were coming?
My son was already here. My daughter, she was here as well.
And you started a business. That's a real bold move.
Yes. Is
the business still working?
Yes.
Still operable?
Yes.
Wow. It's Sydney Bowen. Am I saying that right? Bolden.
Bolden. Yes.
Yeah, I knew that. And we're talking to her about everything, because there are so many erroneous reports out about millennials, and we just wanted to just sort of straighten that out. But basically, I want to talk about the avenue and all of the things that your family business has been doing, getting kids through college. During the campaign, I was with your mom on a couple of campaigns, and kids would come up and say, "You taught me what grades did she teach?"
So she taught at Townview, and she had taught grades 9 through 12. So all of the high school students she actually taught, and she taught for over 25 years. So she taught a lot of our future.
She sure did. And now you're picking up the mantle.
Yes.
That is good news.
Yes.
We have now your repertoire of people, of kids, has to be young people now, has to be extensive. I mean, that's the college group, your sister group, right? And your mom's, all of this generation. So you have this big family of influencers, supporters. Yeah. So what is your message to people that don't have all of these things? I know you're working with those people. Do they understand the difference? When I say the difference, they understand there's a better world. Maybe
some of them don't, unfortunately. But that's the thing about being raised with different experiences, right? Of
Right,
course, they
right.
think that, I mean, some people, because they hadn't been exposed to certain things, they don't know that there's other options out there. And so to be able to sit there in front of them and talk to them about the different options that they do have, right? Or other ways to be able to explore their anger, right? I often talk to them and I'll tell them, as opposed to just getting angry, getting mad, upset. And I know it sounds so cliche, but you can just breathe in and breathe out. And that will mean that your response at that point when you're upset will be totally different than what it'll be 10 seconds later, just in doing that. And some of them will come back to the group and they'll be like, it worked. And
So
so
are you saying to just stop and just stop and breathe and
stop and
think?
breathe. It gives your brain some oxygen, so you can think differently, think more rationally, and so to be able to provide those other options for them is.
I'm encouraged. I'm encouraged by the new generation. I'm impressed with what they did during the voting cycle we just had in our midterm. Now I've got a few more minutes. I need to wrap up and tell me how really, really great you are and what a great future this country has with you in charge. No, not this. It's not with you. Tell your mom I really had fun with you.
Yes,
Will
I
you?
will. I will. I will. I will. I will.
Ah,
I think that as long as everybody gets on the same accord, I mean, love, I think, is the most important thing, right? Because a lot of people, children, act out because they don't have it. And you'd be surprised how they'll do. I mean, they're like, I don't care what type of attention that I do get, as long as I get some. And because they may be lacking some love. And so I think that that's what's most important, to make sure that we're providing love to everyone. But then after that, of course, again, letting them know the different options that they do have, letting them know that stealing, drug dealing, those are not the only options, right? You can still be able to be successful with these other options that you do have available.
you're marvelous. You're marvelous. Will you come back to see me sometime?
Of course.
I didn't give you a hard time, did I?
Not at all. I love the question.
It is Miss Sydney Bolden, and I'm Esther Davis. I'll be right back. Don't go away. Thanks. Wow, that was awesome. I'm back. Hello, this is Esther Davis with part two of the show. This is a very inspiring segment. We have a distinguished lady in our midst who is known all over the world as Big Mama, I think.
Absolutely.
And my guest is her filmmaker, her producer, her director, and her writer. It's Jasmine Greer. Hey,
Hey, Esther Davis, how are you
how are
doing?
you doing, Jasmine?
I'm well. I am absolutely well.
You look outstanding.
Thank you. Why,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
You're working on a documentary for Big Mama.
Yes, ma'am, I am.
How's that going?
It's great. It's inspiring.
Oh, let's talk. I got a lot of ground to cover here in the next 20 minutes.
Okay.
You went, you did, tell me about the documentary. What is the scope of the documentary? Let's start.
The scope of the documentary, when the opportunity first approached me,
Right.
I was given the opportunity to create a flyer for Women's History Month.
Okay.
Which was brought to my attention by none other than Esther Davis. So you like jazz. I need to go ahead and make this flyer for Women's History Month. I'm like, okay, cool, let's do it. So during that time, that was my first physical encounter with Irma P. Hall.
Okay.
And thereafter, I was literally in Chicago probably less than 5 months later.
Yeah, you went right away.
I did.
You're going to Chicago.
Yes, ma'am.
And this is the good news about some of our millennials. You can present an idea and they're ready to go like right now. So you go to Chicago. She gave us some pictures. She gave you some pictures.
She did.
Okay. And one of the pictures is a young Barack Obama.
Oh, she did.
Yes, she did. I will have to put that up the next time. But he's like 40 something.
Yes, very
let's
young.
Start there when she was in Chicago.
Well, when she was in Chicago, okay, I visited Chicago and I visited the Harold Washington Library, the Chicago Public Library, which I was allowed to go to the collections and pull footage of Irma P. Hall when she performed at Goodman Theater and Chicago Theater. It was amazing.
Oh, wow.
Like there's the Harold Washington Library, and I'm there and I'm recording myself. I'm at the very top floor, mask is on, and I'm looking at this footage of Irma P. and her presence that because during that time, the 80s, she didn't say much. You know, she's a African American woman in theater,
right.
The only African American woman there on the stage, and her role was to literally come in and be quiet.
Really, come in and be quiet.
Tell you something about the power of your presence. Sometimes she's powerful. Absolutely.
So you go to the library in Chicago and you look up her name and all of her footage and her prints and all of this is right there. Right. By the way, Harold Washington is the former mayor of Chicago.
He is.
You can look him up. Very, very powerful, distinguished gentleman at that time. So now you're in Chicago. Mm-hmm. You're looking up all this information of things she'd already told you about, or which?
Well, things that she told me about, honestly, because I took off so fast. I didn't. Okay. I took off so rapidly that I really didn't get the full story until I came back and I was able to interview Irma P. Hall 101 along with the amazing tech director Robert Flagg.
Okay.
And that's when everything that I actually was able and exposed to in Chicago, she sat there and told me the story and everything
came into full.
Yes, ma'am. View. Yes, ma'am.
She remembered all of that.
From childhood, it was so vivid. The story that she gave was vivid from her childhood to now to today. She's great.
Yeah, she's great. How old is she now?
86.
So in the 80s, she was doing. What was the movie that she? How many movies has she done?
Oh, she has done over hundreds of movies. One movie that she's known for is, of course, the 90s Soul the 90s, Food. Absolutely.
Irma P. Hall, the great, amazing Irma P. Hall. Now, which movie is that?
This is that slipped my mind.
Okay.
Because there's Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks.
Yes,
okay.
Tom Hanks.
That's a good friend. They're still good friends today.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Wow.
Yes, ma'am, they are.
Mm-hmm. So you go to Chicago, now you have all this lineup of the movies, and now you're back with her with the personal interview. How long were you at her home?
I visited her home a few times, so over hours, because she's so amazing in who she is as a woman. She's so powerful and gifted and anointing that and anointed that when she tells her story, she's not telling it for they call clout now or anything else. She's telling it because of that's who she is. And she walks in that purpose. And it's amazing. I'm so inspired to.
I know that's such an honor, and all the time that she gets spent with you. She has a daughter that
she
sort of
does.
manages her affairs.
Everything. Irma, and her daughter name is Irma as well.
Irma Jr.
Irma Jr.
Okay.
Irma Jr. is amazing. She's like mom, like daughter. She's amazing, and she keeps her there. And
but did she tell you how? I mean, she was working with Tom Hanks. Was
right.
in a movie with Tom Hanks. Did she tell you how she got to know Tyler Perry?
Honestly, I believe it was the Dallas Black Art, the Dallas Black Academy of Arts and Letters.
Okay.
Yes.
That's Curtis King.
Curtis
Right.
King.
Okay.
Curtis King. He's amazing as well. She let me know that she met Tyler Perry during that time. I don't know if she went.
We're talking 30 years ago now.
Yes.
Yeah.
We are.
Yeah,
we are. And Tyler Perry, he inspires me so much in my directing and in my writing, and to just know that they had worked together.
Yeah.
Y'all planted seeds for our generation is what they did.
Did she say how she was able to get the part of Big Mama in Soul Food? Did she talk about that?
She talked about that. She talked about that scarcely. What she just mentioned that I believe, was she just getting out the hospital? I believe she got into a bad car accident, or was that before?
That's okay. You can come back and bring me all these details. I have your back.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, because it's so much. I'm sorry.
Because you went to Chicago, you come back, you talk to her. Now we're getting the rest of the information.
Yes, now we're getting basically
the rest. Take off and go somewhere else.
I came back from Chicago, and I'm doing my research, and I'm like, wait a minute, okay, but she was born in Beaumont, Texas, and spent a bit of her childhood there because she didn't move to Chicago until she was about 8. So during that time, I go down to Beaumont and I go to the library there. I take off.
Well, that's what a good researcher does. You do your own research, and then there you are. You're in Beaumont, Texas. Where is Beaumont, Texas?
Beaumont, Texas is, let's just say, about an hour and a half out from Houston. You know where Houston is? You keep going out. And
wow.
Yeah, so I go there, collections department, have a little information on her. And they welcome me back. So that's where we are now. I will be revisiting Beaumont, Texas. I will be revisiting Chicago. I actually just got an email from Chicago and said, hey, we reached out. I got an email from the library, Harold Washington Library. They're going to reach out. They reached out to Chicago Theater for me and got the information I needed to obtain.
Oh, wow.
Actual footage of her performing there in, small plays.
Mm-hmm.
The Rover.
Well, where was she a blues singer? Didn't she sing or dance or something?
She sang. She was inspired by her father.
And that's a drum major picture.
The Rum Boogie. Her father. That was her first encounter to the whole entertainment industry.
How old is that photograph?
That photograph is really old. She was what? I think 11 on there. I think 11 years old on there.
She performed with the dad.
She did. And she said from that moment, she was inspired.
What amazing history. We're talking about Irma P. Hall. My guest is Jasmine Greer, her filmmaker. She gave you permission to handle her life and her times. That is awesome.
It's an honor. I get emotional talking about it because sometimes we pass over true riches. We don't understand them. We don't see them, and they're right here.
And she goes to your church.
She does.
Did you know that before all of this started?
I did, but
your church is massive.
Sometimes you don't realize who's sitting right there. She was right there the whole time. I was born in the church.
And Irma P. Hall is at your church.
Right there.
When she's in town. Has she always been in Dallas?
She has
Beaumont, Chicago.
Exactly.
Dallas.
She Beaumont to Chicago back to Dallas because she got her bachelor's. She got a bachelor's in speaking French and Spanish, and then she went on to teach, and she taught in Dallas. So Irma P. Hall is phenomenal. She's done so much. I can't wait.
Big Mama.
The world's Big Mama. to be exact, is what she is. So
let's go back to the church thing. We're talking about inspiring body of Christ. That's the Honorable Ricky Rush. We'll say hello to him. He's known all over the nation.
That's my pastor, Pastor Rush.
So you're sitting in church with this famous woman, and you've done all of this research on it. When did you find out y'all belong to the same church?
I knew, but when I found out was when we had a birthday celebration. You, Esther Davis, you did it once again.
The phenomenon. When you are an Esther Davis and you can't get all the things you want done, what you do is go get other people to get them done.
And I'll do it.
Seriously, that's the way things have sort of worked out. But you were just so awesome. You get on a plane and go to Chicago, and then I don't hear from you. Then you come back, and we're waiting for this story. And then all of a sudden you announce, "Well, I'm going to do her story." What?
The whole thing. I'm inspired.
That's what inspiration is. Is that what you're saying to me?
Absolutely.
Inspiration is just what?
You go jump.
Yeah, but you threw in John Wiley Price in this. How did that work? What happened there?
Once again, you
I just wanted somebody to talk about this man. Because as you said, that's JWP.
There he is.
John Wiley Price with the Honorable Irma P. Hall.
Absolutely.
You're right. We have so much greatness, and it's not. If I can't do it all, I'll just assign it to somebody. But it's inspiring.
It is.
And also to get somebody that says, "Bam."
You know what? Upon visiting her home the first time, that photo that we just saw inspired me to do just this photo here. Inspired me to do this.
Okay.
We saw the picture, and I said, John Wiley Price, and you said, You're going to visit his office. Yes, ma'am. Let's go. Esther Davis, I'm going to bring some millennials. Esther Davis, I have MCM going on, Millennials Chain Movement, because the generations have to connect together in order to understand.
Yeah.
So that's how John.
You brought so much history to the whole thing. Mr. Price, J.W. Price, is the county commissioner in Dallas County. He's been here about 30 years. An actual awesome figure. We all know who he is and the work he has done.
Yes.
He's touched so many lives.
Yes.
But he can be a bit aloft. He can be a bit like, oh, that's a picture of you and the kids, right? I mean, you and
yes.
Oh my gosh.
And the millennials. Absolutely. Absolutely. This day I was scared.
You were scared?
Initially. I'm not going to lie. Initially, because John Wiley Price, when he talks to you, he gonna talk, and he gonna talk through you.
How did the others feel about it? Other people you brought with you?
Oh, they were blown away. Honestly, they talked about it. They still talk about it today. They talk about the impact that it has on their life to know, because he told one story where I don't think he was with Jesse Jackson during this time, but they did have several marches that they did together and movements that they did today that has impacted our generation greatly today. And one thing he spoke about was and I don't know, I think he said he whited out all the billboards that advertised smoking and drinking.
Yeah, he did. He hired a cherry picker.
And that's how it brought Irma P. Hall and John Wiley Price, because it's the humanity, it's the love. That's the point of me writing this. It's love, and that because he cared. And when you're selfless as yourself, and Irma P. Hall and John Wiley Price, it impacts the generation, and then we can get the baton.
And there's so many stories out there that have not been told. I don't think the commission story has fully being told, and we have asked young people to get involved. We have media departments everywhere now, all of the high schools. We have filmmakers, we have people with cameras. You have one of those really nice, expensive cameras.
Yes.
So Jazz has been other places with us during the COVID, the height of the pandemic. We talked to the health. What was the guy's name? The director of the Dallas County.
Absolutely.
Health. We went down to his office. They opened their offices for us, and all of these stories have to be told. So you have to look up John Wiley Price. He's a famous county commissioner in Dallas for our audiences outside of Dallas.
Absolutely.
I need to wrap up this segment. I need to take a little bit of a break. Don't go away. I'm coming back with Jasmine Greer. Yesterday. Dr. Davis and my special guest, filmmaker Jasmine Greer. She's in the middle of doing this documentary on Big Mama, on Irma P. Hall, and because she lives here in Dallas, and we're talking about all the history that we have passed up. So wherever you are and wherever you're watching us, yet people, and they're coming from our churches, they have so much history, it is unbelievable.
Oh, absolutely.
You disagree or agree with
I
that?
agree entirely. I agree.
Okay, Irma P. Hall right now is, where are you in this process? I want you to come back because we got to keep up with this. We got to make this a Dallas premiere.
Absolutely, and it will be. We, as I said, the whole team and I, we are in the dumping process, which means
What is that?
This means that all this information, the interviews, and the craziness of flying out to Beaumont and Chicago and everything we have, and things that we are to be discovered, we will dump them all.
Okay.
And then we can smoothen it out with the documentary. So we are in the dumping process now, and I know that
all these terms, the media terms are crazy.
Absolutely. So it's all part of editing. It's all part of the editing. Mm-hmm.
But she is, how fast and furious are you working? Not that we want anything to happen to us, but she's 87.
She's 87. We are actively working. I know that there are there are things that we don't have. I can't say that there's a lot, but any artists know that you have to cut that perfectionist off and just make the story.
Right.
And that's where we are. We just got to cut it because she is that phenomenal. She is that big. She is. So when you're dealing with somebody like Irma P. Hall, to kind of put that into a documentary, it's a challenge.
It's a lot. We're gonna call you the Black Ken Burns.
Oh.
Well, he's really doing a lot of documentaries because that's history. Jazz, you're making history.
Absolutely. We all are.
What projects would you like to work on? If you had the grand opportunity, all of the funding that you needed, what would you work on?
I would definitely stay in the film theater. I would make so much content that it just doesn't impact this generation. It doesn't impact today. So to answer your question, I don't know. I don't know exactly what I will focus on because there's so many things going on in the world that can use a little fixing. That
and so many stories to be
so
told.
many stories to be told. So many people, so much history that we don't pay attention to, and that we're not told so much. So I would do a lot. I would just keep making stories, keep writing, keep directing, and
writing is a key because I love writing.
Absolutely.
And what I found working with the young broadcasters is that they're like you. They're finding these stories in their churches or in their neighborhoods.
Absolutely.
Where Big Mama used to stay. What is that?
That is myself in Chicago, and I got a random stranger to take me a picture.
It says dream, right?
It says dream, and that's what the story in Irma P. Hall and yourself and everybody has just dream, and you go. You do. M. Legend Brown.
Legend Brown. Who's
phenomenal. That? He's a writer, a director, a producer. He's written he writes a lot of Christian movies. Pureflix, a lot of his movies. He wrote he's a director and co-writer for John, which is also shown on Perf. That's a John from the Bible.
Oh, from the John. Oh, the apostle. Is he apostle?
Yes.
Apostle John.
So that's.
I mean, what is he celebrating? Did he bring her flowers?
That was the event, the Women's History.
That was March, Women's History Month.
Yes.
I was the MC, right?
Yes.
I was there.
Yes.
But I
wasn't. You were there. Everywhere.
Okay, that is Women's History Month affair.
Absolutely.
Featuring Miss Irma P. Hall. She was a beautiful young woman.
Oh, beautiful inside and out. That's definitely your beautiful.
Yes. Oh, beautiful.
Yes, that's Ester Davis and her touch that she has definitely.
Wow. We did. I had forgotten about.
Oh
that.
yes. Oh beautiful.
Oh beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
See, that was last year, 2021, 22.
There's her birthday celebration at IBOC. Irma P. Hall and I. John Wiley Price.
He came to service.
He did Sunday. The resolution. He gave a resolution that day. That was amazing. That was beautiful.
Is the inspiring body of Christ.
Yes.
The mega churches in our
Dallas,
city.
Westmoreland.
And I remember I remember he came that day because that was his fourth or fifth service or some crazy thing like that.
He was like, "I'm sorry." We're like, "We just glad you're here." So he came and he, remember, he came and he spoke some powerful words, per the usual, powerful, sweet words to Irma P. Hall. It was amazing. Pastor Rush, the whole church sang happy birthday to her.
Yeah.
During that time. It was beautiful.
That's why we got to keep that history. We have to know it first of all. Now here is this. What are we watching right now, Jasmine?
Soul Food. Oh my
Soul
goodness.
Food. Is that one of what is that? The series or the picture?
No, this
Movie?
is the movie. This
Okay.
is the 1990s released Soul Food. Here, there it is.
Right.
And that's how she became known as Big Mama, the Big Mama, world's
Yeah,
Big
America's
Mama.
Big Mama.
America's Big Mama.
And what we learned from that soul searching event was that I could go to Houston and my family would be having a soul food dinner at their home.
Mm-hmm.
All over America, families started having soul food dinners, inviting people,
Absolutely.
inviting family members.
Yeah.
So it was a phenomenon
Mm-hmm.
that still exists to this day. So that's what we call her America's Big Mama,
America's Big Mama.
Grandmama.
All of
She will
it.
tell you what to do in her house. We went to her house that day with one of the camera guys, and it was so funny. She had stacks and stacks of stuff. So she told you to go get that stuff.
She did.
And
boxes and papers, and I mean, and I was like, okay, but
where do
when
you start?
where do you start? But God didn't say how the overflow would come. He just told you was going to face it.
And you gotta be careful about that because God
Oh,
will
yeah.
give you an overflow, and you're like,
What you want me?
What do you want me to
Where do
what do you want me to do with this?
It don't matter. You just start.
Now, how many movies has she been in?
I know for a fact over 100. She has been in hundreds of movies. She has been in hundreds, and I didn't know that until I really did some deep research on her. She's been in hundreds from her youth. From her youth, she sure has.
And she exemplifies the movies that she has played.
Absolutely.
They weren't really acting. I think it was just part of her life or the way that she dealt in everyday life. Because she kept ordering all of us around. I do remember that. In her house. We didn't know what to do in her house.
Go get that.
Yeah.
And grab that and do that. And that shows you how.
Yeah, mentally she's quite alert.
Man.
I remember she told you or the camera guy, I get scripts every day.
Oh yeah.
Did she do that?
She did.
How do I remember
She said that the way that she keeps her sanity and she keeps her peace is she writes. She said she still writes. She's in her 80s still writing. She said she still writes poems. She still reads scripts. She still gets them and she reads them.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't be inspired?
Irma P. Hall is a staple in our community, but there's so many other stories out there that we really need to capture, and it's left up to all of us, especially
Absolutely.
this generation, to get that done. So, what else are you doing? I know you lost your dad not too long ago.
Yeah, hardest battle.
The hardest battle. You handled that in the middle of all of this. It's funny how you could be sailing along just even, all of a sudden you have this big bump in the road.
Yes.
But I knew your dad. Of course.
Oh, Cornelius Greer.
Yeah. He was a pastor at the what did he do at the church?
He was an associate pastor for the Inspiring Body of Christ for over 20 years, and phenomenal, and a world changer. Like world changer.
He
like
was a world changer.
You know.
So what part of him do you have? What do you think
I heard all. I heard. I was just a lady version of my dad, and I love it.
Your dad was a big man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then he's just. How tall was he? I'm seriously. He was
6'2", 6'3".
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember him in a suit, of course. As
yeah.
To the church.
Mm-hmm.
With this big wolf voice.
Absolutely, wolf voice. His laugh. I mean, I have a lot of things that I carried along from him, which is you just rejoice.
Rejoice. What is your fondest memory?
My fondest memory. My daddy was a fun person.
Yeah, he really was.
He was just fun. So a lot of it, all of it. Honestly, my dad made sure that things were that we understood true riches, and we weren't conformed to the world. We knew what riches really were.
Yeah, it was
wealth and riches. It's a difference. Yes, ma'am.
You have a grandmother.
Yes.
Miss Collins, Sister Bella.
Just saw yesterday. Out in her garden.
She has a garden.
Oh yeah, she's 87. Mm-hmm.
Wow. So how important is the family structure? I mean, how old are you now?
30.
I have to ask y'all that. Because I keep forgetting that. See, because Sydney was 27
Okay.
and you're 30.
Yes, ma'am.
So you have these grandmothers. How many generations are living? You have it's 1, 2,
Yeah.
3.
Right. 3. Grandmother, my mother, grandchildren, a lot. 4. There are still generations
So
coming
Miss
in.
Bella has how many grandchildren?
She has how many?
Yeah. Well, I'm counting. I know a couple of y'all, but I don't know that many. How many grandchildren does your grandmother have?
What's that? 4.
That
3.
many. That many.
10.
She's Jasmine Greer. She's a filmmaker and she's a writer. So I love the writings. I love the poems. And we're going to wrap up a little bit, but we are doing a very, very special thing for Eddie Bernice Johnson, the congresswoman from the District 30.
Oh, yes.
That is a great picture. That picture was printed by the Dallas Morning News in 1986. She was a young congresswoman, and she has served this district with so much distinction. We're so happy that she is still here.
Absolutely.
We're so happy that she's retiring to enjoy some of the fruits of her labor. And I will be doing a series and a legacy for her going into the new year. I understand she's going to leave her office January 3rd. So every week we'll be talking about Eddie Bernice Johnson. Did you know her?
Yes.
Give me some words.
Yes.
What do you think? What do you think about it? You're
Eddie,
30 something. She's 86.
The
How
same.
did she impact your life in any way?
Eddie Bernice Johnson is that voice and the influence that not only impacts just one kind of woman or one generation or one race, but when she says something, she knows why she's saying it, and she's saying it because she's ready.
Yeah, she's ready.
And that's what impacts me most, is she's ready. And when that's I keep going.
I was on our interview team, especially. She did a program every year for women. It was called A World of Peace for Women, or A World of Women of Peace. And she brought all of the women together, all cultures, all nationalities, into a conference every year. A World of Women of Peace. So she's the Honorable Eddie Bernice Johnson. We're going to continue to do, and she's living. She's not going any place yet. God has not called her home, but we want her to know while she's living how much we enjoy the legacy and what she's done. You know what, guys? I really got to go. I have people back here to tell me it's time for you to go.
Get out of here.
Get out of here. We don't
Get
want to hear anymore. But I have to tell you what a great audience you are. You're the greatest audience in the world. Thank you, Jasmine Greer.
Thank
Come
you for
back
having
to see
me.
me.
Absolutely, I sure
keep
will.
Up with Hall. Would you tell I said hello?
I sure will.
Right?
Absolutely.
So we're waiting for her 100th birthday.
For real. Absolutely.
We'll see you next time. It's Ester Davis.